What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the quartering, and LeBron James is not a smart man. He is a billionaire, though. He has more money than probably myself and everyone watching this video combined. So, ultimately he gets the last laugh, but that doesn't mean that we can't criticize some of his horrendous opinions. Like, remember a few years ago how he said something horrible was spray painted on his gate, which had a bunch of camera footage of who was spray painting it, but then mysteriously never released it, indicating perhaps the people who spray painted it on there were inconvenient looking. He is a liar. He hates this country, and he loves that Chinese money. Now, a few people recently have come out to criticize him, and he probably had maybe his worst hot take yet, and we're going to get into that. By the way, it looks like YouTube might be purging subscribers, or maybe people are getting sick of my videos. I'm not sure, but if you are subscribed, please make sure you still are. And if you haven't yet, please do consider subscribing today. LeBron says Brittney Griner shouldn't even want to come back to America. Who is Brittney Griner? Nobody cared or knew before, but apparently they are an athlete for the WNBA, who was moonlighting, playing in Russia, broke the law, and got arrested. And now the United States diplomats, we have to trade a highly dangerous person to Russia to get them back in a prisoner exchange. That's what's happening. So they're getting like a horrible, horrible human, and we're getting back, well, a WNBA player. But LeBron says that Brittney Griner shouldn't even want to come back to America. You know, the country that made him a billionaire. Detained WNBA superstar ought to rethink whether she even wants to come home to America, said fellow basketball icon LeBron James, who claimed that the U.S. hadn't done enough to free her from Russian captivity. I don't understand this. You knew what you were doing was against the law. You were smuggling, essentially. You got caught, and now you're in jail. Why is it our responsibility to bail you out? I don't understand this. It's not like you were being detained unlawfully, that they were detaining you against your will just because you broke the law. I don't understand this. Why is there this expectation that just because you're an American citizen and you broke the law willingly in another country that you're supposed to not be subject to their laws? Did she have diplomatic immunity? And by the way, again, this was a willful act, a willful lawbreak by this WNBA superstar, okay? Rot, do your term. I don't really understand. We have bigger fish to fry, literally. James made the shocking comment on the Shop Uninterrupted, an HBO show in which James and others, including Jon Stewart and Snoop Dogg, talk about news, sports, and culture in a barbershop. When the conversation turned to Griner, James threw up a brick. Now, how could she feel like America has her back, James said. I would be feeling like, do I even want to go back to America? No, you don't have to. Just because you're an American citizen doesn't mean you can go over to other countries and break the law and then expect our president to drop everything and get you out. Now, I sympathize. I really do. I think it sucks. I think that, it's not like she was engaged in something horrible. It was, a low-key offense. Probably shouldn't be spending time in the gulag for it. But I fail to see why this is our government's issue. Now, I also want to ask is, if I did it, if I went over there and I crammed my pockets full of things that shouldn't be crossing internationally, do I think that Joe Biden would drop everything to be doing a prisoner swap for me? No. This is the most elite of privileges. The fact that Joe Biden's even doing anything. That's shocking anyway, but you get what I'm saying. Griner, the 6'9" center for Phoenix Mercury, had been held in Russia on charges since February 17th, despite U.S. diplomatic efforts to win her release. Last week, she pled guilty to bringing in, again, hash oil into the country. Although she said she didn't intend to do so. She was playing in the off-season for a Russian team when she was caught with vape cartridges full of it at the airport. You knew what you were doing. Of course you did. Are you kidding me? This is not like a weird, obscure law like, you know, that you can't make jokes in Germany about stuff, you know. This isn't some weird tourist thing that you didn't know about. The guilty plea sparked speculation it could pave way for prisoner swap. Russia reportedly wants the release, now listen to this, of an arms dealer who is known as the Merchant of Death and is serving a 25-year sentence in the United States in exchange for a WNBA player. That's, like, are you kidding me? James previously stoked outrage on the show in 2018. He labeled NFL owners as a bunch of old white men, and he accused them of acting like slave masters. In the NFL, they got a bunch of old white men owning teams, and they got that slave mentality, James said, billionaire. And it's like, this is my team, you do whatever the F I tell you, or we get rid of you. Yeah, that's how most work goes. More recently, he blasted the NFL great Drew Brees for saying athletes who kneel during the anthem were disrespecting the flag in the United States of our country. Wow, man, he tweeted, it's still surprising at this point. Sure isn't. You literally still don't understand why Cap was kneeling on one knee. Has absolutely nothing to do with disrespect of America and our soldiers, men and women who keep this land free. You can, I mean, what it has to do with is putting the spotlight on yourself. When you're failing NFL career, you want to turn it into an activism career. But again, he was forced to backtrack. Now LeBron James has backtracked, writing the following. My comments on The Shop regarding Brittney Griner wasn't knocking our beautiful country. I was simply stating that she's probably feeling emotionally, along with so many other emotions, thoughts, etc. Instead, inside of that cage she's been in for 100 days. Long story short, bring her home. She broke the law. And of course, getting trolled. Toxic masculinity is assuming what a woman thinks and tweeting it. Do better, King James. She hates the United States, and she committed a crime that she now has pled guilty to. Would you be this upset if it was a random American being held to the same thing? Nope. Nope, no one would even know. Or maybe you realize how unbelievably stupid it was to blame America for unfair treatment she's receiving from Russia, and now you're backtracking. Sounds more like it. Yeah, except you were knocking our beautiful country. Ridiculous how someone who earns success can criticize the country that provides it. I mean, you can, look, you can criticize the country where you live. I think, you know, optics are a thing. And so, like, when you are literally a billionaire, it just hits different. Like, you went straight from high school into making more money than anybody in the history of the world, basically. You know, outside of a few, you know, using, you know, a physical gift. You are a billionaire. Hearing you complain about the land of opportunity doesn't quite hit the same. And of course, Ian's Kenter, freedom. You see LeBron James shoots air ball when discussing Brittney Griner. You see, you are free to leave, buddy. NBA's Ian's Kenter freedom rips LeBron James after comments about America. Ian's Kenter freedom, the fervently pro-America NBA center who has steadfastly spoken out against the communist China regime, slammed NBA star LeBron James after James made a comment regarding WNBA star Brittney Griner that appeared to slam America. After James was harshly criticized, he backtracked and tweeted, my comments, blah, blah, blah. Ian's Kenter writes, you can call it a step back. We call this a walk back. You are free to leave, buddy, or you can even volunteer in exchange for her. Some people literally have no idea what it's like to live in a dictatorship. Keep taking your freedom for granted. LeBron, Ian's Kenter, of course, is an immigrant who just gained his citizenship, I believe, last year. Oh yeah, here last October, freedom called on the Chinese government to free Tibet, ripping China's brutal rule. What followed was the Chinese streaming services, including Tencent, backing out of all Celtics games on the platform as well as removing replays of previous Celtics games. The Daily Wire reported, but the response from China didn't deter Cantor Freedom, as he continued to post videos and messages to social media accounts calling out Chinese government for their record human rights atrocities. The following month, he officially became a U.S. citizen, prompting a letter from former President of the United States, George W. Bush. What a huge honor. Huge thanks to the 43rd President of George W. Bush. Freedom tweeted, I'm proud to be a citizen of the United States of America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I will never take for granted the freedoms that I have. Now, it's rare to see somebody so outwardly patriotic in the NBA. I'm not saying you can't, criticize this country even if things are going good for you. But maybe do a little thinking and understand the optics of it a little bit if you're LeBron James. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.